Okay, I am up here at the cottage. It is Friday early evening and need to do my daily video. And today the question was, what were the biggest time wasters as I look backwards of my last decade? Where did I absolutely go wrong in wasting time? So the way that I thought I'd answer this is a macro and a micro. So one that is big picture and one that is like day to day. So here's the big picture. The greatest pieces of advice I ever got, I didn't understand at the time I got it. But now, looking back, it's so obvious because of what I've been able to accomplish. So, the piece of advice and the time waster: spending time on vitamins versus painkillers. Let me explain. So, mentor Greg Alexander gave me this idea years and years ago, and he said, he'd always talk to me, focus on the whole solution, focus on the whole solution, focus on the problem, the pain that people are really having. And he said that one of the biggest challenges with the businesses you've been involved in, and I will never have any regret. I'm not a regretful person, but specifically, my first agency, Sales for Life, taught me so much about the sales community, made me a true savant expert of the sales community. But the challenge with the sales training business is, and this was the feedback from Greg, the painkiller industry is 8 times larger than the vitamin business for a reason. People have acute pain. They buy Tylenol. They spend 8 times more money on Tylenol than they do on vitamin B12 or omega 369 or preventative medicine. So, in the same vein, the same thing happens in every industry. And so the challenge with sales training, I never take anything away from that, but more about my second agency, Pipeline Signals. We built a feature, a widget, as an example, that would track job changes. And it was good. It was really cool. It was the second in the world that could take data from LinkedIn, show every job change in the world, present that data to sellers. So it would allow them to be early into prospecting what's called a signal. That is a vitamin. What we did was we created a mechanism for sellers to identify potential opportunities faster. That's not a pain. A pain is, seller, you aren't creating enough leads. If we had gave them the whole solution, gave them the lead, like imagine we provided the software that tracked the job change. We made the call. We booked the meeting. We hand a lead over on a silver platter. That's the whole solution. That's what Greg would talk about. So the concept of where I wasted time is I spent a lot of time on vitamins, and that's like pushing rope uphill. Vitamins a lot of times struggle building the fundamental business model of recurring revenue. They struggle with churn prevention because, again, a vitamin is an easy line item to cut during recessionary periods, whereas a painkiller, you can't get rid of it. So as an example, I Get Leverage right now, I'm in the painkilling business. We close deals in under 25 days. We close almost 50% of every lead. Why? Companies have human capital issues. They need to solve an acute problem. My website is struggling right now. I have an on-page SEO problems. I'm not creating enough content. I'm not creating enough leads. People left my business. I'm spending too much money on human capital here in North America. I need somebody in a seat tomorrow morning. That's a pain. And until you're in the pain business and you see the velocity of sale, the conversion of sale, and all the things that come with pain-based businesses, you then can look backwards and go, oh, now I see the difference between a vitamin and a painkiller. So that's the macro. The micro is really simple. The micro is, I've worked for so long in my businesses that I grew an addiction, and especially the seller in me has an addiction to speed to value. So I would process my own emails and allow my calendar to be truly an open dish at a party, like, a smorgasbord. Book a time into my calendar, and my calendar for years and years was truly, the switching costs were incredible because I would be bouncing. I'd have 25 meetings a day and I'd be bouncing from different types of meeting, a channel partner meeting to a customer meeting to an internal meeting to a vendor meeting to a banking meeting to a legal meeting. But I allowed other people's priorities to take precedent inside my calendar. Even more importantly, I allowed myself to become addicted to email, to feeling that I needed to read every email, respond to every email, process every email very quickly. I needed to be basically a live chat support agent inside my own email. What that did is it's kind of like going to school and you don't really do a lot during the day. And then you bring your books home and you realize you have 2 to 3 hours of homework every night. That was me. So I had to work like one and a half times more than everybody else because during the day, between working with the internal team and running sales presentations and demos or working with customers and then processing every email, I then needed to work at night to actually get the on the business work done. So the time waster is recognizing that here's the fundamental principle. Email is somebody else's priorities, not yours. And so you have to set and dictate the guardrails to your own calendar, your own email, and then set the guardrails of when you respond, who do you respond to, how fast do you respond. That also sets the precedent of the relationship. This is your calendar. This is your information portal that you, as a founder, get to dictate the flow and sequence inside that. And if you allow it to be a live chat support, you will, and I did for years, become addicted to it to the point where it has taken so long, like any addiction, like truly, like drugs and alcohol, to be able to weed yourself off not checking it, not feeling you need to respond. I still have the urges because I spent so long inside my email. Again, that's other people's priorities, not your own. So I hope you found this valuable and looking forward to the next idea tomorrow.